Okay, guys, time for some real talk. We're gonna do a little bitch session, I guess we would call it. I don't really do these often. Um, don't know quite what to say or what to do on any of these, so you're just gonna have to sit here and play along with me. Some of this probably isn't gonna ever see the light of day anywhere, so if you do see this, consider yourself lucky. But yeah, so here we go. Um, got the Civic back Thursday. Big thanks to Robert Diaz, Hush Performance, Hush 22, uh, H Star. I don't know what else he markets or brands under, but I cannot say thank you enough, Robert. You've been a great friend for almost 2 decades now, and it means a lot that you're willing to help me out as well as help further the sport here in Tucson still, even though I know you're kind of back and forth from here in Sierra Vista and Phoenix and now Denver and Cali and all the western states that you rack up all your 90,000 miles in less than a year in your pickup truck in. So again, from the bottom of my heart, my friend, thank you very much. It will not go unnoticed, so thanks. Man, I'm trying to find an angle where I can rest the phone and not show my big fat belly and not get some other personal affection that nobody really wants to see right now. But so yeah, Civic is back. Some nice, tasteful upgrades that were done at Robert's shop, and Robert was instrumental in helping me with the cylinder head repair, as well as the cam repair / replacement. We're going to sort that out when we get down to it here in the next couple weeks, turning some wrenches. But overall, I think we're going to be able to send it. The repair's got some discrepancies, some pitting air pockets that made themselves apparent, looks like, when they did the final machine work, but it is smooth to the touch. It is pressurized from the top down for the oil feed on that journal, so it survived from what we can tell when it got damaged the first time around, and still ran after the fact. So hopefully this will continue to allow us to keep going. I just got a message that I'm going to ignore for the time being. Josh, I'll catch you in a little bit. And otherwise it looks pretty solid. So head studs, head gasket are the bare minimum to get the vehicle back together. There's some wants, some likes that I'm probably going to do in the meantime as well. Take the header off to get to the oil pan, get the oil pan off, pop some of the main and rod caps just to make sure there's no obvious signs of damage or debris in those, because it has been sitting for a long time. So just want to make sure everything's safe before we go to fire it up and send it. The other big wants that'll probably happen in the meantime is a new factory water pump and a timing belt. If anybody knows where I can find the Gates blue racing belts for the F22A specifically, hook a brother up, because I can't seem to have any luck in finding them. I'm getting conflicting interchange numbers. So yeah, otherwise it'll probably just be a factory timing belt. I think we have them on my shelf at my work, so that is one more perk of the job there. Time belt, water pump seals, the usual on that. Might pull the transmission apart. It depends on if Scotty wants to give me a hand with that, because I really don't know what to look for, what I'm looking for in that box. But just make sure there's no broken face plates or cracks that we can see, I guess. Other than that, I need to get a hold of Joe at Low Cash Racing, see if he's still got access to a 10-year-old tune, and get that loaded up to at least be a base map to get the car running, and hopefully back up to him so we can full send this thing down the quarter and see if we can salvage some of that 300 horsepower that we made 10 years ago on this setup, and get a baseline hopefully for more moving forward. That being said, big plans moving forward is probably a redesign on the header, if not modifying the existing header to better clear stock oil pan, because that's always been a concern of mine. Traction bar still that is been supplied from a former business partner, that's yet to go in the car. Wire tuck, bay cleanup, repaint of the bay, then repaint and body work on the car because of the damage from the prior theft from the previous owner. I'm kind of staring off into space, kind of trying to wrap my head around what else. Probably do a full gut under the dash finally. This was a daily driven car, but that is no longer the goal for this vehicle. So it'll still have some daily driven capabilities, but being an almost 40-year-old man now, I need my AC, I need my power steering, I need some cushy seats and a nice stereo. So it might just see weekend warrior duties, cruise night, stuff like that. But the street ability I want to maintain a little bit, but it's pretty much going to be a track dedicated car. So, gosh, this is hard talking to nothing. So all you YouTubers and content creators, I envy you, because this is 7 minutes in and I feel like an idiot talking to a phone screen, because nobody is home right now. Nobody is here. It's weird. I feel egotistical talking so much about my goals for the car. So if I come off that way, guys, bear with me. It's not my intention. This car wouldn't be here without so many people. I've already mentioned Robert, Scott Byers, who 2.6 as a lot of the industry knows him, the owner of Collective Racing / Collective Auto Works. He was my boss, became my best friend. Wouldn't have had the opportunity to assist in the build of this car the first time around. Probably wouldn't have had the opportunity to possess this car now without his tutelage, his knowledge, his compassion, and sometimes even his funding back in the day. He kept me fed when work was light. So thank you, Scott, so much. My friend, you have always been there. And again, just like with Robert, I cannot say thank you enough. I owe you both a debt that I know I will never be able to repay. But I will continue to do my best with this, and hopefully, keep some smiles on your guys' face in the process. Blair Plowman, who helped with this build the first time around, who was instrumental in a lot of the middle years and end years of Collective Racing. Couldn't have done a lot of this stuff without him as well. We've all cut our teeth and cut our hands and bled on a lot of these cars, and this one is no exception. So thank you so much. Chrissy, the previous owner of the car, who without Scott would have never opened the pocketbook up to build the first time around. So thank you. Hopefully we'll at least match what you were able to do with the car, running an 11.4 multiple times, and then even better, hopefully we beat you from there. So thanks again for setting the bar so high. Back to the goals for the car, guys. We talked about the header. That's going to be probably one of the more long-term goals as we see where the power lies now. If we were able to keep that, at least 298 horsepower, increased, decreased over time, depending on what the years of abuse and sitting and rebuild, rebirth, what kind of toll that's taken on everything, and we'll go from there. So yeah, the header's going to be probably a progression of testing what we've got now. Tim at TCR here in Tucson built the header. Unfortunately, in my eyes, cut the oil pan to help keep the ground clearance and still keep it underneath the car. Kind of a variance of opinions, but obviously it works because the car made almost 300 horsepower with it. So you cannot take away his design and ability there. So if I can tweak that just a little bit to get a stock oil pan back under there and not sacrifice any power, that'll probably be step one. And then see if there's any way to improve on his design. Test out some other designs. I know we had some good luck with some SMSPs and some RMF headers on Scott's H's back in the day. I don't think I know Randy unfortunately passed a few years back. So new product from RMF is no longer available. So guys, keep that in mind. If you're seeing RMF branded items now, they are definitely fakes, forgeries, copies, or just general theft of intellectual property that is no longer in production because, again, the designer and builder has passed away. So buyer beware. Dave Stadilis was SMSP. I don't know if he's even in the scene anymore, if he's even building. I haven't seen anything new from him in a long time. Again, there's a lot of forgeries and copies and replicas and intellectual property theft from China out there. So again, buyer beware on that stuff. But yeah, so I mean, just testing some new designs there. There's some local builders that have expressed interest in having me open up my pocketbook for them to test and create their designs, so we might go that route as well. The next big thing, and this is going to probably be in regards to anything after we get that new baseline formed, as far as getting it running and getting some seat time and hopefully matching that 11.4 that Chrissy ran, is getting it on fuel, getting it on consistent fuel. Because previously it had been tuned on a mix of 91 and 100 pump gas. And to no scientific measured combination formula otherwise. It was kind of daily driving on the 91, occasionally put some 100 in it, especially when you were going to the track. And that was it. So that 298 to almost 300 horsepower that this thing made was on pump gas. So that is something that the haters can keep in mind and bear down on when we say that this thing has a lot more potential. So fuel pump, fuel delivery, fuel source, whether that's E, whether that's Q, whether that's just some good old-fashioned C. Some research is going to need to get done on that as well. Probably, obviously, new injectors. There's some big injectors in there currently. I think they're 1,000 ID 1000s, but Scott can chime in and let me know if I'm wrong on that. I got to dig out the build sheets from his previous posts and do some history research on that. Oh, now, shoot, guys, we're almost at 15 minutes and I've been rambling here like a fool. Header, fuel, those are the two big things. the car's currently got a OBX copy replica IP theft design of what I believe is a Golden Eagle intake manifold that Tim at TCR again was gracious enough to cut open, massage, port match, and do his years of experience with on modifying that. Again, it never a dig to any of Tim's work. I think there's more there through probably a different manifold or a different intake delivery source along with fuel. The way the power band kind of plateaued rather than peaked and fell at the top end of the last couple tunes, when it hit that 298 and flatlined, makes me think that there's a restriction near the top end, either it getting air in or out, unless it's maybe a timing issue that we didn't catch. Again, a lot of research is still going to have to go into this to see what we can do. Some other wants as far as changes after we get the baseline. I've been looking into the K-tuned RSX race shift box and their H22 compatible shifter cables and bracket to use that K series shifter box with the H22. From what I've seen, that billet box offers so much more precision as far as positive stops, strength, as far as flex. There's probably a couple other companies out there I'm forgetting, maybe hybrid. I kind of have my mind set on one brand versus the other, and I tend to try to stay loyal to those guys, and intend to stay loyal when the time comes, when we figure out what we're going to do. But that's another big want for the car for sure. What could happen between even the resurrection point, the rebirth of this car, I'm going to probably end up pulling all the HVAC stuff out of underneath the dash. It still had its heater core. It still ran its heater core up until I pulled the cylinder head a couple years back. So the valves were all still there, the hoses, everything. So that's probably all going to come out to give us just a little bit more weight, a little bit more room. It's not needed, guys, for going fast in a straight line. It's weight, it's space, it's a bunch of junk that just isn't needed in my plans for the car. So that will probably come out once I get some free time and a little bit more motivation to kind of crawl around in the car. I'm 6'4", 350 plus pounds, so squeezing under a Civic dash is not my idea of a good time. So as soon as we get some motivation again to get bendy, we will probably start pulling that stuff out. If we continue to hit 11.4s with the car, it's going to need a cage. So I've already pretty much got my fabricator picked out in mind for that. He is overloaded with projects in the meantime. So until which is fine because I'm also broke, and this is going to be kind of a week-to-week ordeal for a lot of our parts, and some saving in the meantime to acquire some of those larger items. That's really kind of the gist of it for now. It's not a requirement, but I might have come across an opportunity to obtain a wide body front end for the vehicle on the cheap, if not on the sponsored level, hopefully. Robert and I had talked originally about maybe doing something with his fiberglass skills and knowledge, and his kind of building on his DA and EF three-piece wide body front ends that he's had such success with in his product line. You know, he and I had originally talked about perhaps building something for the EG, using my chassis for that. The market is kind of inundated with those, so I don't think it would be too business savvy for him to tread into those waters just for me. I think he's already put his neck out there for me a little too far to begin with, and I cannot thank him enough for that again. So another friend that has a front end that he originally acquired through Collective Racing, I believe, or at least through a third party that had originally acquired it through us, said that his might be available soon, and I might take him up on that offer just to have something to put on there, even if it's just for show for the time being. Paint is going to be a big one. I want to keep the car red. Unfortunately, I have a guilty affliction for red cars, and I'm at a loss for words when it comes to that. It's going to stay red, guys. Unknown shade, but it's going to be red. I'd like to keep the metal flake that Mike Speece did such an awesome job on the engine bay with. Mike, if you see this video, I know you feel like you never got the credit for the car, for the awesome job you did, but it is beautiful. It is amazing. It's going to need to get redone because there's been some big changes to it that we need to update and address. And if you're available, you're my guy for the bay, no matter what, if you still want to do it. That being said, I've got more friends who paint cars than I have fingers and toes, and I would be remiss if I said any one of them were better than the other. Each one has their own unique skill and trait and, difference than the other, and that's all I'm going to say about that. It might just come down to who wants to give the homie hookup the best. Like I said, I'm broke, I'm cheap, and again, at a loss for words. Red paint's not cheap, so if anything, we will be working with somebody for that. So those are the big things, guys. As I hit almost 24 minutes here. Sorry for the long video. Like I said, this might not even see the light of day. This is the first time I've ever done one of these. I'm gonna stretch out a couple more minutes here just because I'm OCD and I like to have solid round numbers as far as how it plays out. So looking for a carbon hood on the cheap. If anybody's got a used hood that's not too badly beat up, that still bolts down and still latches, hit me up. Preferably local here in Tucson, Arizona, just because of shipping. Leave me a comment down below if you've watched this video, just so I know you stopped by and said hi, kind of to let me know what you thought. If you get a free minute, I know I say a lot. It's something that I've always tried to work on. I know I'm ugly, so you don't need to write that. I know I'm probably shaky with the camera. I'm just holding it in my hand right now, sitting on the couch. I got a 3-axis charging right now that the battery died, trying to do some B-roll on the car. Other big modifications is going to be me. It's been 10 years since I've been down the drag strip. I was pretty good then. I visit the Mexico Street Racing League every now and again and go down to the streets of Mexico and bang a gear every now and again. Okay. And feel like I can still 1, 2, 3, 4 it pretty good. So it's going to be a matter of, like I said, I'm 6'4", 350 plus pounds. If I can get south of 300 before I get in the car, I'll still be probably double what Chrissy was when she was running. So it just means more power. And since I don't have a turbo to turn up the boost to haul my fat ass, we're just going to have to do it another way. Okay, so we're 25, almost 26 minutes here. I think I've punished you guys enough for this. Again, guys, leave some comments down below. Let me know if any of this is relevant, if you like some of the ideas you've heard, if you're interested in coming on board as a sponsor, fan, if you want to see more videos. There is going to be some stuff coming out here hopefully really soon, and in conjunction with, hopefully with Robert at Hush 22, Hush Performance, hopefully with VTech Academy. I know they had some B-roll that they shot with us with the car. That's it, guys. Comment, like, subscribe. I'm going to do that generic YouTube content creator stuff and see where that gets us. Because, yeah, this has been interesting, talking to a screen, looking at myself, trying not to play with my beard. And now that we're at 27 minutes, you guys have a great evening.